Hey, thank you. Hey, welcome to the Science of Happiness Project. This is basically a Thanksgiving project where we learn how to, before the days of Thanksgiving, learn how to adopt certain behaviors that increase happiness. So it's all science-based. This comes out of the University of Pennsylvania. Jose Santos, my colleague, put this together for us, and I'm presenting it here in English as he presents it in Spanish on another Zoom call. So what you will need for this activity is a piece of paper and a pen. And 2 pieces of paper might be a little bit better just to give you more room, but at least a piece of paper and a pen. And we are going to be doing an inventory. So we're going to answer questions. We're going to rate ourselves on the scale of 1 to 10 for 23 questions. And we're going to use that as our guidepost for understanding the science of happiness. So if you can give me a thumbs up if you've got the pen and paper ready. Looks pretty good. Somebody's thumbs up just exploded into dozens of thumbs up, so that was awesome. Okay. So piece of paper and pen ready, and we're going to start with something called the PERMA profile, okay? And the acronym PERMA, P-E-R-M-A, will feature in this presentation as we go on. But in order to get started, let me switch screens here, and I'm going to put up our little inventory. And these are 23 questions, and they're all based on a scale of 1 to 10. So if you look, for example, at the first question, it'll say 0 is not at all and 10 is completely. So 0, not at all, 10, completely, 5, you're halfway there, 7, pretty good, 9, awesome, 10, totally. So I want you to answer these questions, and I want you to list them on your paper. So you do number 1, and then you write your score. Number 2 below that, then write your score. Number 3, and so on. So you have 23. You'll have 23. Questions on there. Send it up. Okay. So the first question is, in general, to what extent do you lead a purposeful and meaningful life? And I'll say each question a couple times, and if you don't hear it, just let me know and I'll say it again. The first question is, in general, to what extent do you lead a purposeful and meaningful life? 0 is not at all, 10 is 100%. And anybody just joining us, what you just need to do is just grab a pen and paper, and you'll see some questions up there on the screen, and we're just going over those questions together. And we are rating ourselves 0 to 10 on each question. 0 is not at all, 10 is 100%. So the second question, there's not only 2 options, Olivia, there are 11 options. 0 through 10. So you'd rate yourself 0, not at all. 1 would be 10%, 3 would be 30%, 7 would be 70%, and so on. So, for example, if I feel that I lead a purposeful and meaningful life, most of the time I might say 70 or 80%. The second question is, how much time do you feel you're making progress towards accomplishing your goals? How much of the time do you feel you're making progress towards accomplishing your goals? 0 is never, 10 is always. And if you got a 10 on there, nice work. Okay, number 3 is, how often do you become absorbed in what you're doing? How often do you become absorbed in what you're doing? 0 is never, 10 is always, 5 is half the time. And anywhere on that continuum, 0 to 10, where do you rate yourself? Number 4, in general, how would you say your health is? In general, how would you say that your health is? 0 is terrible, 10, excellent. So number 5, in general, how often do you feel joyful? 0 is never, 10 is always, or somewhere in between. So number 5 was, in general, how often do you feel joyful? Number 6 is, to what extent do you receive help and support from others when you need it? To what extent do you receive help and support from others when you need it? Okay, that was number 6. Number 7 is, in general, how often do you feel anxious? How often do you feel anxious in general? Number 8, how often do you achieve the most important goals you have set for yourself? How often do you achieve the important goals that you've set for yourself? 0 is never, 10 is always. You got a 10 on that. Here's your high five. Right into the camera. That's awesome. Number 9 is, in general, to what extent do you feel that what you do in your life is valuable and worthwhile? In general, to what extent do you feel that what you do in your life is valuable and worthwhile? 0 is not at all, 10 is completely. Number 10, in general, how often do you feel positive? 0 is not at all, 10 is completely. 5 would be half the time. So number 10, in general, how often do you feel positive? Number 11, in general, to what extent do you feel excited and interested in things? To what extent do you feel excited and interested in things? 0, not at all, 10 completely. Number 12, how lonely do you feel in your daily life? How lonely do you feel in your daily life? 0, not at all, 10 completely alone. So in this one, 0 would be you do not feel lonely. 10 would be you always feel lonely. We doing good?
Hey, Rich, can you scroll down?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 11 is, in general, number 12. No. Number 13, that's where we're at. We're on 13. How satisfied are you with your current physical health? 0 is not at all, 10 is completely. Number 13, how satisfied are you with your current physical health? Number 14, in general, how often do you feel angry? 0 is never, 10 is always. So 14, in general, how often do you feel angry? Number 15, to what extent have you been feeling loved? 0, not at all, 10 completely. Number 16, how often are you able to handle your responsibilities? 0, never, 10, always. How often are you able to handle your responsibilities? Number 17, to what extent do you generally feel you have a sense of direction in your life? To what extent do you generally feel you have a sense of direction in your life? 0, not at all, 10 completely. Number 18, compared to others of your same age and sex, how is your health? 0, terrible, 10, excellent. Compared to others of your same age and sex, how is your health? Number 19, how satisfied are you with your personal relationships? How satisfied are you with your personal relationships? 0, not at all. 10, completely. Number 20, in general, how often do you feel sad? How often do you feel sad? 0, never. 10, always. Number 21, how often does time go by very fast when you are doing something you enjoy? How often does time go by very fast when you're doing something you enjoy? 0, never. 10, always. Number 22, in general, to what extent do you feel contented? Or do you feel content? To what extent do you feel contented? 0 is not at all. 10 is completely. And number 23, taking all things together, how happy would you say you are? 0, not at all. 10, completely happy. Congratulations. You got that 10. That's you. Okay. There were 23 questions on here. You should have 23 answers. Give me a thumbs up if that's what you have. Please. I can scroll down. 1 second. So those are the last 4 questions there. Does anybody need a repeat of any of the questions? Okay. Nicole.
Can you repeat number 6?
Yes. Number 6 is, to what extent do you receive help and support from others when you need it? 0, not at all. 10, completely. Any other repeats? Okay. Thanks for doing that. Now, it gets a little wacky right here, but it's not too bad. But I want you to go on your list there, and I want you to put the letter that I tell you next to each number, okay? And whoever made this, wasn't me, messed this part up because they could have made this so much easier, but we're just going to do it their way. Perhaps they have some sort of awesome reason for it. I've not been able to figure that out yet, but put a letter next to the number, the question number, that I tell you. So number 1 would be M. M, as in M&M. Number 2 would be A. A. Number 3 would be E. Number 4 is H. Number 5 is P. Number 6 is R. Number 7 is N. Number 8 is A. Number 9 is M. Number 10 is P. Number 11 is E. Number 12 is not listed. We'll skip that one for a second. Number 13 is H. Number 14 is N, not 9, N. Number 15 is R. Number 16 is A. 17 is M. 18 is H. 19 R. 20 N. 21 E. 22 P. And 23 H. Any repeats on that? Olivia.
Can you repeat 1 and 2?
Yes, ma'am. Number 1 is M. and number 2 is A. Any other repeats? Okay.
Hi, can you repeat 3 through 12? Sorry.
Only 3 through 12? Okay. Let's see. E is number 3. Number 4 is H. Number 5 is P. Number 6 is R. Number 7 is N. Number 8 is A. Number 9 is M. Number 10 is P. Number 11 is E. Number 12, we're skipping that. They didn't leave a letter for some reason. Number 13 is H.
Thanks.
Any other repeats? You're welcome. Okay. So, at the bottom of your paper there, if you look on the screen here, it's in Spanish, okay? So let's not worry about the word promedio. We've got the letter P, E, R, M, A, and N, and H. So if you add up the scores for all the questions that are P, now I realize that they could have just put all 3 P questions as question number 1, 2, and 3, but I don't know, these folks did not do it that way. So you will have to go around and look for the 3 questions that have a P next to them and add those up. And at the bottom of your paper, put P and your total score. Your total score could not be higher than 30. 30 would be 3 tens. The same thing with the letter E. There's 3 questions that have the letter E next to them. You can go through and add those 3 up. The questions with E are number 21, number 11, and number 3. Next, you'll do R. So the 3 questions with R, you'll add those up, get your score. And then M, A, N, and H. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Olivia.
Hey, can you scroll to the bottom so we can see what you just told us?
Totes.
Thank you.
And when you're done adding those up, just give me a thumbs up, please. Okay. Anybody else still computing? Okay, I've seen quite a few thumbs up. I'll give you a few more seconds here. And as you're computing, I can explain what we're doing here, okay? So that was an inventory, right? We're taking a happiness inventory. And those are all the qualities that we're going to learn about that create happiness. And we're rating ourselves, okay? So we're saying on this PERMA, the acronym is actually called PERMA, which is an awesome acronym. And we're going to, those are different categories of things that make people happy. And so we're going to learn about what those are. And we're going to do a presentation. It's a short presentation. And it's going to describe what PERMA is. And we're going to look at our scores. And then what the activity that we do afterward is that we actually do a 12-day, if you've ever done a gratitude journal, for example, things like that, you do small things that increase your happiness. And we try to rewire our thinking. So it's a little bit of cognitive behavioral therapy in a sense. And so the goal of this entire thing is we start here. We're this happy wherever we're at. We all are different. And we try to increase that. And so this is a scientific way to do that. And it's really interesting. All of us, when we do our scores, we're going to have some categories that are higher and some are lower. The ones that are lower are obviously going to be the ones we're going to try to work on the most. And the ones that are higher shows us where we're doing pretty well. So let me switch over to the presentation here. Does anybody need any more time? Okay. So, The Science of Happiness Project by Jose A. Santos, my colleague, and an awesome guy. So happiness is a state of harmony, well-being, and flow with our obvious realities. I think obvious reality means the way things are, right? So this model, the 12 happiness factors, include expressing gratitude, cultivating optimism, avoiding excessive thinking and social comparison, practicing acts of kindness, promoting social relationships, develop strategies to cope with the situation, learning to forgive, increased flow experiences. You notice that some of those questions were asking you, how absorbed do you get with something, like when you're doing a task? A flow experience is a key part of the happiness experience. Savor the joys of life. Savoring is something we're going to learn about. It's to sit and appreciate something as it is. Committing to your goals, practicing religion and spirituality, and taking care of your body through meditation, physical activity, and acting like a happy person. So what are the things that happy people do? These are the 12 happiness factors. So here's that cool little acronym, PERMA. P stands for positive emotions. So in the P category, you could look at your score and you could say, okay, on a scale of 0 to 30, where do I land on often feeling positive emotions? We're all going to have different scores on that. So that's your positive emotions score. E is your engagement score. So engagement means, like, how involved are you in the things that come into your life? How involved are you with just life in general? Are you engaged or disengaged? We all kind of exist on a continuum of that. And of course, some things we're going to be more engaged with than others. R is positive relationships. So R stands for relationship. Where are you in positive relationships? 0 to 30, I believe. M is meaning. So this is a part of the happiness that we see, is finding a sense of meaning in what we do, whether it's, at home, at work, or both. I know that in the group of people that I work with, I think that score is actually pretty high when it comes to the work that we do, which is a really neat thing. So M is meaning. A is accomplishment. So your sense of accomplishment overall, 0 to 30 up there. So PERMA, you should all have your PERMA score there. Okay. So that is step 1. So in this process, we have a 12-day process, okay? And day 1 would be today. And today, day 1 is measuring your happiness. Now, to save time, I won't ask for solicit answers, but I want everyone to think, is there something on that PERMA acronym that stood out to you? I remember when I did this one last year, there was one of those that really stood out to me, like one of the letters, and I was like, wow, I have a really low score here. I was actually kind of surprised by it, but it was, for me, a guidepost on something I could work on. And what we're doing in this 12-day exercise, so every day you're going to do one thing to add to your routine to increase your happiness, either your positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, accomplishment, and health. So what I'd like you to do on the back side of that paper that you have is we're going to come up with a plan, okay? And for each of these days, you're going to have a different theme. And so, for example, you can see day 2, it says savoring. Savoring is the act of stepping outside of an experience to review and appreciate it. I can think of an example in my own life. I love to hike. And when I'm hiking, I'm totally savoring the experience of being in the mountains. I'm savoring the views and the sunshine, all those things, really stepping outside the experience to say, this is really cool. I really enjoy this. Another example from my own life, I like to play music with my friends. And during those times, I often sit back and think, this is really nice. I get to be with my friends. We're playing music. We're doing things that I really enjoy. I can savor this moment. So what I'd like you to do on your paper is you're going to write day 2. And if you need an extra piece of paper, that would make sense. I understand. I want you to think of, I want you to write that word savoring, and it's up there on the screen, savoring. And I want you to think of an opportunity of something that you could savor, or that you could savor more. Well, something that you really love in life that you might even take for granted. Something that, might be something that you see often, but it's really important to you and you love this thing, this person, whatever it is. And, how are you going to savor that? Or try to find an experience that you don't enjoy. And this is actually more powerful. To find an experience that you don't enjoy and try to savor it as well. Try to find something that you really enjoy about it. I know I have common situations in my life where I feel like I'm not very good at this situation. I'm kind of weak at this. And I try to enjoy it anyways, savoring it. Okay? So that's what you would do for day 2, the savoring. Day 3, and I want you to write this, a daily gratitude journal. So, in a 12-day process, starting on day 3, you would have a daily gratitude journal, okay? And this is something where, well, let me read this to you. Gratitude is a positive emotional state in which one recognizes and appreciates what one has received in life. Research shows that taking time to experience gratitude can make you happier and even healthier. So for the next 7 days, they're asking, so 7 days, take 5 to 10 minutes each night and write down 5 things which you're grateful for. You might want to add that to your notes. Daily gratitude journal, 5 things which we're thankful for, 7 days. Okay. And notice each step that we're doing here is something very simple. So if you're savoring something, you're taking a moment to really enjoy something. Okay, you're stopping the flow of life a little bit, and you're saying, I'm just going to see things as they are and just appreciate it and enjoy it. It's a very simple act. This is a very simple act as well, writing 5 things for which you're grateful. They can be little things or big things. So that would be your day 3 step. Okay, now let's back up for a second. What are we doing here? We're taking 12 days and we're trying to rewire our thinking. We start with our baseline happiness, which are scores that we have. And then at the end of this, we will measure ourselves again and we will see where we have improved. So number 4, day 4, random acts of kindness. These are fun. Research shows that happy people are motivated to do kind things for others. Over the next 7 days, try to perform 7 acts of kindness beyond what you normally do. What I love is that the crowd of folks that I'm talking to right now is the kind of crowd who can really has access to this kind of experience. 7 acts of kindness. I'll tell you, as a parent educator, one of my favorite random acts of kindness is to buy a little toy for one of the kids. I mean, I just love getting musical instruments to them. I love getting them little drums, little pianos, whatever. I find them at the DI. I've told you all about that. And it's a random act of kindness, and it's appreciated, and it makes me feel really good. So that's day 4, random act of kindness. You want to do that for 7 days. You want to find 1 random act of kindness, or you can do 10. Go big. Day number 5, social connection. In experiences teaching this in the past, I have found that this one is one of the lower scores. So a lot of people have a lower score in this, and it makes sense. We all know that we crave social connection with others, and that sometimes life and the way our society works does not allow us to do that very well. But research shows that happy people spend more time with others and have a richer set of social connections than unhappy people. So what you can do in here is maybe try to make a goal, day 5, and say, make a social connection. And I think a great example of that would be, call somebody you haven't talked to for a while, or reach out to a relationship that needs a little bit of strengthening, or, who's that friend that you may have been too busy to talk to. Something like that. Really do that meaningful social connect with somebody. Call your mom. You haven't called her for like 3 weeks. Come on. Whatever it is. Okay? It can be a small 5-minute act, like sparking a conversation too. Having conversations with strangers. In fact, a lot of people really enjoy those small conversations. You might run into somebody at the store making a joke, something like that. A lot of people, I'm one of those people, really get a lot from that small interaction. This is not somebody that I'm ever going to have a relationship to, but it's the social connection that makes you feel really good. Okay? And then it says, at least once this week, take a whole hour to connect with someone you care about. Okay? A whole hour. Okay? That's a good amount of time, but that's also evidence of a really high quality connection if you can spend an hour connecting with someone you care about. The key is that you must take the time needed to genuinely connect with another person. At the end of the day, list the social connections you made and notice how you feel when you jot it down. So for this purpose, I think for day 5 on your paper, you could maybe even put an idea, like if I'm doing it right now, I'm going to say, call my sister, like I haven't talked to my sister for a month. Like I'd love to know how she's doing. After I talk to her, I feel good. So that's a social connection I'm making right there. That's something that I put there. Write 5 social connections. Give yourself a big goal for this one. Invest in those relationships. Spend time with those people. So that's your day 5. Day 6 is exercise. Research suggests that 30 minutes a day of exercise can boost your mood in addition to making your body healthier. We all know that. We just don't do it a whole lot. For the next week, you'll spend each day getting your body moving with at least 30 minutes of exercise. So on day 6, you're going to put 30 minutes of exercise times 7 days. Exercise does not have to be a huge deal. You don't have to hit the gym. You can go out and walk. Getting fresh air is great. It's amazing how much you can regulate your physical system and really get your stress and everything in order just by walking. And it's something we don't do enough. I certainly don't. So that's what they say. This isn't supposed to be marathon level of activity. Just getting your body moving more than usual. So that's day 6. Day 7, sleep. One of the reasons we feel unhappy in our modern lives is that we're constantly sleep deprived. Okay, this is something that we teach as parents and teachers, right? For children, it's something we can observe for ourselves. Research shows that sleep can improve your mood more than we often expect. For the next week, aim to get at least 7 hours of sleep, at least 4 nights of the week. Okay, at least 7 hours of sleep, at least 4 nights of the week. So if you're somebody who gets up at 6, you want to be in bed by 10:30. Takes you a little while to fall asleep to get to that 7 hours of sleep. The sleep is going to make you feel better both physically and mentally. So pick 4 nights this week. Note them in your calendar. And if you want to take the time to do that now, put a little note on there saying your bedtime by whenever. And prioritize it. Very easy for all of us to miss this one because it's so easy to stay up when we really should be getting more sleep. Okay, so that's day 7 is sleep, and you're picking 4 days of the next week from there to get at least 7 hours of sleep. Day 8 is meditating. And meditation is a practice of intentionally turning your attention away from distracting thoughts toward a single point of reference. For example, if you've ever done a meditation, they often focus on the breath. So you will spend, 5-10 minutes focusing on your breath, on your bodily sensations, compassion, thinking about someone you love, a specific thought. It is trying to clear your mind. And if you need any help with meditation resources and you're in contact with me, let me know because I do a lot of meditation and it's absolutely changed my life. But you can always find meditation resources on Spotify, on YouTube. They're all over the place. There's free meditations everywhere, and they will teach you how to do that. So research shows that meditation can have a number of positive benefits, more positive moods, better concentration, more feelings of social connection. So for the next week, we're asking, after day 8, you'll spend each at least 10 minutes per day meditating. So 10 minutes of sitting and focusing, either on your breath, on a thought, on a nice thought. Even, some meditations are imagine yourself. Some people are very visual thinkers. They can imagine themselves on a beach, or something. They have this wonderful thought, and it's very calming. So find a quiet spot where you won't be disturbed while you're meditating. So you want to do that for 10 minutes a day. Now remember, this is a 12-day process. So you're not doing on day 2, you're not doing all of these things. You're going to start this one on day 8. Day 9 can be a really powerful one. This is a gratitude letter or a visit. And it says one of your last rewirements. And what they're meaning by that rewirement is that we are taking our baseline thinking and our baseline happiness level, and we're rewiring our brain through our actions, essentially, to do things that make us more happy. This is what this whole project is. It's doing things that make you more happy. And you're setting a little calendar for yourself on how to do this over 12 days. So that, in and of itself, science says, is enough to rewire your brain. And it's enough to get at least 1, 2, or 3 of these habits going in your life going forward. But one of your last rewirements is one that research suggests will have a big impact on your happiness and that of another person, which makes it really cool too. This week, after day 9, write a letter of gratitude to someone you care about. For this assignment, think of one living person who's made a big difference in your life, but whom you never properly thanked. I was a school teacher, and I get a lot of Facebook friend requests from kids who do this a lot. It's such a joy. I mean, for me, right? It feels so good. Like, Mr. K, I was such a jerk to you, but I'm like, I thought you were the coolest teacher. You really helped me. Now that I'm an adult, I realize it. It's a great thing to have, and it's a great thing to give to somebody too, you know? So somebody you never properly thanked could be a great candidate for a gratitude letter. Find a quiet spot when you have a half an hour free and write a heartfelt letter to that person explaining how he or she has touched your life and why he or she is meaningful to you. Your letter can be as long as you want, but try to make it at least 300 words or so. 300 words, not sure how long that is, probably close to a page, would be my guess. Then you must deliver that letter to the person in question. Just say you want to talk to that person without explaining why. You could read the letter to them over the phone or Skype, but for an extra huge happiness boost, we recommend scheduling a time to visit that person in person to share the letter. And of course, we can all imagine if someone did that for us, how we'd feel. We'd be like, man, that was a pretty meaningful experience, right? So this one, when they say it's a powerful one, has a big impact. That's what they're talking about, you know, that. And if you think about it, this also goes to savoring, right? This is like an act of savoring, you know, the existence of another person. It's also goes to social connection too. So a gratitude letter is one of the most powerful tools for increasing happiness. So maybe on your day 9, on your piece of paper, you could even write that person's name. You could say, oh, I just thought of somebody. This is the person I'd like to write a gratitude letter to. Definitely recommend you do this. Okay, day 10 is the final rewirement challenge. So if you look at all of these days, what you're doing is you're adding a new step to your routine every day, right? Some of these steps ask you to do something for 7 days, like to meditate for 7 days, to do a gratitude journal for 7 days, okay? It's that practice of doing something every day. And as you notice, as you go through the 12 days, you'll end up doing a few more tasks, right? And it's entirely possible that you will do this practice and you'll do some of them and you won't do others. That's okay. You don't have to do every single one. The more you do, the better. But if you only find a few of these things that are worthwhile for you to do, I recommend that you do those. Okay? It's in the repetition of some of these actions that really is the rewirements. Okay. Day 11. This is an interesting step. So a social commitment. You have engaged in some behaviors like gratitude journaling and meditation and random acts of kindness, and you are going to socially commit to your rewirements. So tell somebody about the change you're trying to make. Say, you know, I'm trying to be more grateful, so this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to build my social connections, so this is what I'm doing. And I'd like you to, you know, the social commitment is a powerful thing because it gives us accountability, right? When we express to somebody that this is our intention, then we know that somebody else is looking for us to actually make that change. Okay, and remember, the whole process here is us rewiring our brains a bit through action to have a happier experience. So you can tell someone about the change you're trying to make. Feel free to share with your family or friends and say, and you know, like I said, there's a bunch of different realms there. You can go from random acts of kindness to meditation to blah, 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 all these different things. You can choose one or two and you can say, hey, I'm really going to make it a point to work on my random acts of kindness. It just sounds like a lot of fun to me, and I'd really like to commit to doing that. Tell somebody, let them know. That helps cement your intent and your accountability. Okay. And it says day 12, promote better environments. So design your environment to set yourself up for success. For example, I think what they're talking about here is if you're going to do a gratitude journal, for example, get yourself a journal, put that into your environment, put that in your bedstand, put that somewhere where you're going to see it so that you're going to actually do it, right? You might need to change some things in your environment to give you better access to these habits that we're trying to put in to our routine. Take a moment to consider situation support and brainstorm ways to promote good environments and fix bad environments. Try your best to have a growth mindset. Think of this rewirement challenge as a learning experience and focus on your progress. Change behaviors is hard, but with a bit of effort and dedication, you can improve the outcomes. So again, it's probably not likely that most of us are going to do all of these steps in exact order. If you do, that's very impressive and it's very good. But if you find even one or two of these to add into your routine, and to make it easy for you to do that, you set reminders on your phone for your meditation. You set reminders on your calendar for your random act of kindness. You can do these little things, and these become, we're trying to build these into habits because these are habits that promote our own happiness. So, and then you can, and this will be a little hard because you guys don't have the handouts, but you can measure happiness again by thinking. For example, if you look at that meaning score, and that meaning score is low on your PERMA acronym, maybe you could go back after the 12 days and say, well, I found a little bit more meaning. I feel that low score doesn't represent me anymore. Like I've thought about this more and I've taken action to do something to help me with my meaning. So, are there any questions on that?
Could you possibly go back to the day one? I didn't get that one written down.
Say that again, please.
Can you possibly go back to the day one screen?
Yes, ma'am. Day one was the thing that we did. It was the inventory itself. So we are on day one right now. And going from my own experience back to those scores, back to those PERMA scores that you have, really think about it. Like if you have a low score somewhere, you've identified an area that you can work on. And it's just as effective to take that one area, say it's relationships, and take that one area and make a 12-day challenge just out of that area. You could write 12 different steps that you're going to do. I'm going to call 12 different friends. I'm going to do 12 different actions that are going to promote this one area because my score is low here. And oftentimes you're going to feel that. You're going to look at it and you're going to say, there's an emotion attached to that number. It's you see a low score there and you feel it. You're like, oh, I feel that. Like that makes sense. I feel like I'm lacking in this department. I'd like to do better. So it's totally legit to pick one of these relationships, meaning, engagement, whatever it is, and find a way to do that for 12 days, just that one. Or you could do the 12-step process that we just listed there. Any other questions? Can I get a thumbs up if you've found something in your score that is meaningful to you? Good.
What is the N score? Like N is in Nancy?
Let me flip back to that real quick. I think I may have missed that. Well, the N score is I'm not entirely sure, Stephanie. I'm sorry. I don't have that one on here. I have it in Spanish, but I don't know. Ended up with a half Spanish. So N1, N2. So those are emotional, I think. The number 20, how often do you feel sad? Number 14, how often do you feel angry? And number 7, how often do you feel anxious? That indicates like an emotional score. And sad, angry, or anxious are all, obviously negative or less desirable emotions. So your N score, you can add that to your PERMA, which I'm not sure they don't have it on there. But I would imagine that to be negative emotions. I think P is positive emotions, N is probably negative emotions. Any other questions? Okay, I want everyone to look at that list of the days that you wrote down, days 1 through 12, and I think it's days 2 through 9 have like specific actions that you can take. Give me a thumbs up if you have something on there that looks appealing to you. You're like, yeah, you know what? I see myself being able to do this, adding this to my routine. Okay, good, thank you. And, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, that's basically our exercise here. So this is a 12-day gratitude thing, and we do this in the month of November because obviously we have Thanksgiving as our major holiday now. So this is kind of a gratitude exercise if you think about it. We're trying to increase our happiness. It's called the science of happiness because this is how they found scientifically happiness can occur if we. And there's an app too. Maybe do you have that link for that by chance, Cassie? Okay, now we can open up for discussion. If anybody would like to discuss, you've come up with an idea, something that you might do that might help you on this path. Have you thought of something, or is some kind of creative idea struck you, or some sort of inspiration, something that you would feel excited for, maybe that you'd like to do? I remember when I did this last year, and I'll share personally what mine looked like. My relationship scores last November when I did this were not very good, and I was like, okay, I feel that. Like, I get that. That is where I'm at right now, and I don't want that to be like my life anymore. So I want to work on that. So I was pretty excited to be able to set some goals for myself and say, I'm going to reach out to some of my friends that I don't talk to enough. I'm going to reach out to people that I don't talk to enough, and I'm going to increase my social connection because I'm feeling low right there. And that score, when I saw that, I felt it. That feels right. Anybody have any thoughts or any insights that they'd like to share? Yes, Cassie, there is a podcast. Yeah, I've seen that. And a free service through the Yale University and the University of Pennsylvania as well. In fact, I can find that link and put it in our chat.
I think I kind of find it interesting as one of my alarming scores was and really in the conference that always post-pandemic loneliness is a epidemic, and the World Health Organization are paying really close attention to this, and so I I thought about it at the conference recently and went, I am a little bit lonely. And then doing this score, it really reflected on that as well. It has to do with the fact that we have. I personally maybe remove myself from this. That's why I'm alone. In a month or two and see if my scores are similar.
Right. And absolutely, thank you for sharing that. And that's where I was at too. You know, you find something in there, and you know, it allows you the reason why is it that my relationship scores, you know, positive emotion scores. You know, like it really allows you to think about and what is be the cause. You know, and for all of us, it can be totally different causes. You know. Some people can be lonely because of their stage of life. Some people can be lonely personality stuff. I mean, there's so many different reasons, but it allows us to reflect on what that reason is as well. And I definitely encourage you all to reflect on that as well. And then reflect on like emotions. Where does that come from? I want more of that. You know, I want to make sure that structure that happens. Any other thoughts or insights that anybody would like to share?
I had asked about N because it was my very lowest score. But that, again, was something to go like this is something to reflect on.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That gives you an opportunity to ask yourself that question. Where do my positive emotions come from? You know, and how do I strengthen that? I mean, it's you can build that, but I mean, if this is something that makes you happy, is engagement. That is how engaged you feel with the different activities of your life in general. And you're going to feel different engagement at different parts of your life, but this is an overall look at your engagement. Oh, Olivia's very engaged. I like it. Olivia, do you have any thoughts on that? Why that is? Where do you feel most engaged?
I think the definition for me, engagement means that I am not an introverted person, but an extroverted person. So it's not hard for me to be around people and to love being around people and to join in conversation and strengths. And so I think that's obviously that's going to be a bigger number for me. I value people and I want to be around people all the time. So
I've most certainly seen that with you. Yeah, that's awesome. And you know, what's really cool about that is you can focus on what things that you're good at. You know, there's nothing wrong with doing more of the things that you're good at. In fact, you're just sharing your gifts with the world when you do that. So, with this activity, I hope everyone's found a little bit of something that they can do to help inspire them for their own personal happiness and their contentedness. If you do this the right way, if they say, you're going to add something to your routine, or so you can, or alternatively, you can find one or two things that you really want to focus on and go right into those. So I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope this was meaningful, gave you engagement, positive emotions, etc. So you all have a great weekend and make good decisions.
Thank you, Rich. Great job.
Thank you.